Hey everyone, welcome to today's Explainer. Today, we're unpacking what I can only describe as an absolutely historic, unprecedented political fracture. We're going to dive deep into the data, the timeline, and the exact events that have pushed a dominant political force in West Bengal, the Trinamool Congress, or TMC, right to the brink of a massive internal rupture.
So, I want you to start by asking yourself this question. What actually happens when a party splits right in front of its living founder? Just imagine a massive political rebellion happening literally right under the nose of a powerful, actively governing leader. Usually when we think of a political party breaking apart, we kind of just assume the leadership is absent, or weak, or completely gone. But what we're looking at today, it defies all conventional political logic. It's a real-time mutiny unfolding while the supreme leader is still very much in the room.
If we take a look at recent Indian political history, we've definitely seen major regional parties fracture. Think of Maharashtra, right, with the Shiv Sena or the NCP, but those splits typically happened over legacy dispute after the founder's era, like the legacy of Balasaheb Thackeray. Over in West Bengal, however, the TMC is splitting while Mamata Banerjee, the founder, the face, and the ultimate driving force of the party, is fully active and officially in charge. It's just a rare, profound irony to lose your grip on a party while you're still completely present. Let's get into Section 1, Traditional Leadership versus the Heir.
You see, this crisis isn't actually about abandoning the party's core values or turning against its founder. Based on the sources, the rebel MLAs still have this deep, enduring respect for Mamata Banerjee's traditional, grassroots leadership. They genuinely admire her connection to the people. This fracture, it's entirely a fierce, complete rejection of Abhishek Banerjee. He's Mamata Banerjee's nephew, the party's general secretary, and basically her presumed political heir. This rebellion is a direct response to dynastic succession and the sudden influence Abhishek is wielding within the party ranks.
This crucial point is perfectly captured in a direct sentiment from the rebel faction. They literally asked, "Who is Abhishek? He has no role in the 18th West Bengal Assembly." I mean, wow, that's not just a mild disagreement. That is a total dismissal of his authority. They're essentially saying, look, your power is inherited, it wasn't earned on the assembly floor, and because of that, they absolutely refuse to be led by him.
Moving on to Section 2, the Forged Signature Scandal.
This escalation happened incredibly fast. It all starts on May 4th, with an election loss where the TMC secured 80 seats against a rising opposition. Almost immediately, internal blame focused squarely on Abhishek Banerjee. Yet on May 6th, instead of addressing those concerns, Mamata Banerjee publicly praised Abhishek's efforts. So the tension is thickening. Then we hit the real catalyst, May 21st. During a by-election for the Falta seat, a TMC candidate named Jahangir Khan, who happens to be close to Abhishek, suddenly withdrew his name. This bizarre move allowed the rival candidate to win by a massive margin of 1 lakh votes. When MLAs demanded disciplinary action against Khan, Abhishek allegedly did nothing. By May 26th, this total lack of accountability pushed rebel MLAs to take their complaints directly to the Assembly Speaker.
Now, while the Falta controversy was unfolding, a technical political maneuver completely broke the camel's back. The party needed to appoint a leader of the opposition, so Abhishek Banerjee submitted a resolution with the signatures of 70 MLAs officially backing a leader named Sobhandeb Chattopadhyay. But here is the crazy part. 2 MLAs, Ritabrata Banerjee and Sandeepan Saha, took a look at the document and made a shocking discovery. Their names were on it, but they hadn't signed it. No way, right? They immediately complained to the speaker, alleging that official assembly documents had been completely forged.
And this right here is where a fierce internal party dispute instantly transformed into a serious legal crisis. The allegations of forging official documents were so severe that the state's Criminal Investigation Department, the CID, stepped in. They actually launched a probe and summoned Abhishek Banerjee for questioning on May 29th. The situation was just spiraling completely out of the party's internal control.
Which brings us to Section 3. Mamata loses control.
Sensing this massive crisis, Mamata Banerjee called an urgent meeting of all her MLAs on June 1st. Well, out of her 80 MLAs, only 20 showed up. Just 20. 58 MLAs had formed a solid rebel faction aligned with Ritabrata Banerjee. It was a direct, undeniable challenge to her authority. The power had literally shifted overnight, marking a stunning loss of control for a leader who had completely dominated this party for decades.
And this massive rebel faction didn't just walk out of a meeting to make a point. They took action. Those 58 MLAs officially chose Ritabrata Banerjee as their true leader of the opposition, completely bypassing Mamata Banerjee's chosen candidate.
The TMC loyalists did try to expel Ritabrata and Sandapan, but at this point, the loyalists were the ones in the minority.
Let's break down the numbers in Section 4, the anti-defection math.
2/3. I want you to remember this exact fraction, because in Indian politics, this is the absolute magic number for a legal party split. This single number is the reason why this massive rebellion is mathematically untouchable.
Here's how it works. Under the 10th schedule of the Indian Constitution, also known as the Anti-Defection Law, elected officials are usually disqualified if they defect from their party. But there's a massive loophole. The law does not apply if a splinter group consists of at least 2/3 of the party's legislators. So let's do the math based on our sources. The party has 80 MLAs. 2/3 of 80 is roughly 54. The rebel faction? They have 58. Because they comfortably clear that 2/3 threshold, they are completely legally protected. It essentially renders Mamata Banerjee legally powerless. She can't just expel the problem away.
And that leads to Section 5, the ultimate irony. Unlike your typical defectors who splinter off just to join the ruling party for a grab at power, this rebel faction stance is incredibly distinct. They still consider themselves the real TMC. They are completely rejecting Abhishek Banerjee's leadership, but they absolutely refuse to merge with the ruling party. They want to remain the official opposition. They're essentially arguing, hey, we haven't left the party leadership has just lost its way.
Which really brings us to the ultimate irony of this whole crisis. The rebels have actually stated, we want Mamata Banerjee to be our chief advisor. I mean, think about that. They mutinied against her control, they walked away with a supermajority of her MLAs, they embarrassed her chosen successor, yet they still want her as their advisor. It is a stunning political tightrope. They want the traditional leadership and the legacy, for sure, but only if the dynastic heir is completely cut out of the picture.
And that brilliantly brings us to the core of this entire explainer. We've looked at the timeline, the math, and the deep ideological fractures. But the big question we have to ask is, what does this historic split mean for the future of dynastic regional politics in India? If a leader as historically dominant as Mamata Banerjee can face a 2/3 mutiny over the imposition of an heir, what does that signal to literally every other regional party relying on family succession? It's a massive question, and the ripple effects of this West Bengal crisis will undoubtedly be felt for a very long time. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep asking the big questions, and I'll see you next time.